How you doing, Mr. DJ? Back on a very cold Thursday morning, or is it Friday morning? Dadgummit, I'm losing track of the days. Let's see, yesterday was Wednesday, today's Thursday. That's right, today's Thursday. Guess this cold weather's getting to me. Had a low of about 10 degrees here in Tuscaloosa last night, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Boy, it does get cold down here. Of course, if you're living up north, you're probably accustomed to that sort of that temperature regime. Well, let's heat things up on this countdown. Some great dance music. Yeah, I love those BPMs. Duke Dumont at number 25, up 3 from 28. Fancy playlist January 10th, 2016. Ocean Drive. Cruising record. I'd say this a million times, but it's one of those songs that drive around your SUV or maybe in a convertible or something like that, top down. I don't know if they make convertibles anymore, but still have that radio cranked up, Duke Dumont playing, Ocean Drive. Actually, appropriately enough, if you're driving by the ocean, this song is on the radio. It's like, hey, yeah, surf kind of crashing on shore, and the sun beaming down on you. I mean, kind of glorious there. Glorious record. Duke Dumont from England. His real name is Adam George Dement. Dyment, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Songwriter, DJ, remixer. One of his early success stories he remixed. He remixed The Fear by Lily Allen. God, I love that record. Lily Allen, of course, she had an edge to her, very edgy singer, but she came out with some fabulous records in England back in the 2000s. Fear was one of them. Although, it wasn't a hit here in America, but it was huge in England. And he remixed a bunch of songs, but a couple of them came out at me. He remixed Daniel by Bat for Lashes, and this was in the late 2000s, early 2010s. 2011, he moved out from London, went out to the country, moved out in the country. He put out some EPs in the late 2000s, but in 2012, he put out a couple of EPs, and boy, they were shown love on BBC Radio 1, played by two prestigious British DJs on BBC Radio 1, Annie Mac and Fern Cotton. My goodness, Fern Cotton. I remember listening to her when she was, well, in England they call them presenters. Over here in the States we call them announcers but she was a presenter with Reggie Yates on BBC Radio 1's Top 40 Singles Countdown in England. And I remember listening to her on that countdown back in the late 2000s. But I just read she's no longer on BBC Radio 1. She left there in 2015. But big DJ, big presenter over there in England. She showed the EPs by Duke Dumont to love, along with Annie Mac, and there was somebody else. And Need You, 100%, came out in 2013. And that was premiered. I'm just looking over my notes here. I scribbled the other night. Need You, back in 2013, was premiered by Annie Mac on BBC Radio 1 in 2013. And that went to number 1. Or maybe it was I Got You that was premiered by Annie Mac. Actually, I screwed up. You can see that I really rehearsed for this. Actually, Need You by Duke Dumont went to number 1 in England. It featured a singer from Sierra Leone. I believe that's how you pronounce the name of the country. Her name was AME. I did a little research, just a tad of research on AME. She was signed to a record deal by Gary Barlow, lead singer of Take That. He had a record label. He's got a record label called Future Records. He signed her up to that record label, and she had some success with that song Need You with Duke Dumont. And it was Annie Mac. I got these arrows all over the place. I believe it was Annie Mac who premiered I Got You, another hit record by Duke Dumont, which featured Jax Jones. That went to number 1 in England. Ocean Drive, though, did not do quite as well in England. Went to number 42. Went to number 1 on the dance charts here in the States. And it did well overseas. Ocean Drive was a hit in Romania, Hungary, Belgium, went platinum 2 times over in Australia. and it is up to number 25 on my fantasy playlist 2 years ago. January 10th, 2016. Duke Dumont, Ocean Drive.